Welcome back, folks, to Final Fantasy World Division. Today we're gonna talk about what is not right with the game, what could be improved. So this is a hero collector, basically. It's a gacha game, but it's also a Square franchise based on Final Fantasy Tactics, if you don't know about that. And yes, there is a lot of strategy involved with the game, and I feel like categorizing this as a hero collector is a big mistake, and focusing on hero collection is a big mistake. I think there should be more emphasis on the gameplay. Anyway, with that being said, it's been almost 3 years since, I think, global release, and we're nearing the anniversary, and there are many things that are completely obsolete and wrong, and as with any gacha game, this is not an exception. There are many units that are absolutely useless and unusable. Now let's take Mont. Mont is a tank. There is also Nasha. We can take a look at Nasha. There is also Snow, but we don't have Snow, so we don't talk about that. If we take a look-see at Nasha, actually let's go and take a look-see at, no, shut up, shut up. At the formation, I can show you better what's the problem, what the problem with the unit is. So let's take Earth, for instance. Now we do have Mont here, right? He has a nice Brigandine with 20 defense, just a standard Brigandine. We have exactly 90 defense with Mont. Okay? That 48 bravery is for all you compulsive guys that needs to see it at 50. So 90 defense is a good chunk of tankiness. Now, if we take, also let's go and look at the stat details. He's got weakness to range and magic. He's got slashing, he's got piercing and striking resistances. Now, if we take all of this into account, Mont should make a good tank overall. The problem is he doesn't anymore, unless you're playing PvE against some enemies. And even then, with the latest PvE events, he's still taking a lot of damage. If you go to the older PvE events, he's not taking that much. So he's got a lot of defense, he's focused on defense, his job is basically to go in there and get beaten by enemies. So what is wrong? Why is Mont not tanking properly in PvP and latest PvE content? Well, the meta for tanking has shifted, and it has not shifted because it was a power creep. It has shifted because Gumi power crept the DPS side. So the DPS side now went from being DPS into being tactical nukes, basically. If you take a look-see at any DPS unit that has been recently released, if you take a look-see at like the new Amnesia something, that girl, new blonde girl, she's got 40 speed penetration as a support ability, which means that if you convert that to defense penetration, which is what other units get, Mont goes immediately, without even getting debuffed or anything, from 90 defense he goes to 50 defense. Now, weapons usually come, if you are being smart about weapon. +5 version of the most recent weapons comes with 20% defense penetration or speed penetration. So that takes Mont from 50 to 30 defense. Okay, so when you attack Mont has only 30 defense because of the 40 plus 20. Okay, so keep that in mind, that the speed penetration, I read that from WoTV, that from a magic unit, but physical units have the same thing. Now you couple that with abilities that lowers unit resistance, unit attack resistance, or defense piercing rate, or something like that, and Mont goes to 0 defense and goes in the negative for defenses, damage resistances. So you can pretty much see how a tank can get one-shotted in the current meta. Let's not even add vision cards, okay? So if you add Iganon, Iganon basically has a nice defense slashing piercing rate reduction. penetration, if I can find it. So you not only it increases by 25 the attack of the party, okay, but to the unit it gives 20% slash attack resistance piercing rate plus another 20 slash attack up, which puts Mont on a disadvantage, and not only Mont but any other tank. So if you go stat details, now Mont goes to minus 10% slash attack resistance. I don't know if they can go, I think they can go in the negative by using the penetrations. So you now use one of those abilities that lowers unit attack resistance and then deals large damage and explode a tactical nuke, and Mons get one-shotted. Yes, he has got the HPs, but that doesn't matter because reasons. So that applies with Mont. Mont, you may say, yeah, but Mont is a Generation 0 unit. What about other units? Well, how many tanks have been released in the last months? 0. The only tank that got released was No, if you wanna call him a tank. He's got 10 aggro, 5 from the master ability and 5 from one of his supports. And yep, that's the last one. You don't see any other tanks. So what are you gonna use? Charlotte? Charlotte is magic tank basically. So tanking has been covered by giving the units barriers. Now obviously classes now have barrier breaking things, like if you take the ranger, it can break barriers, and multi-hit can destroy barriers, so they're kinda iffy. So every defense has been countered, so tanks are useless. If you use a slot in your tanks, in your formation, you use tanks for one of the units, you're basically gimping yourself because you're not doing really anything. So when you look at my formation here, aside from the fact that I don't give a crap about PvP because it's a very toxic environment where the most stupid builds exist, my reason for having Mont here is just because he's there. If I had another ultra rare unit to bump here, I would bump it. There's no reason to have a tank, really. There's no reason to have a healer. Same thing, really. Healers have no place in this game. Why would you want a healer when all he does is a full raise? There's no reason for it to exist. So how to fix this? Well, sadly the damage has been done. And you cannot do anything unless you go and modify every single limited unit ability, because this power creep has been spread through those limited units because you have to sell them. So the selling point is, oh, look at how cool my units are. And yep, pretty much. Now you have to modify every single limited job to fix this issue. So there's no way you can fix this unless you introduce a new power creep options for tanks that allows them to survive. But I doubt that. So I don't think there is a way to fix tanks unless really. What is this? What is this? Third anniversary compound part 2. Do I want to use like 4.5 visual? Yeah, but it doesn't give me much aside from this one. Your choice, guaranteed. What is the choice? I don't even know. I don't need shards, why do I even bother? What is this? What is this? Stats? Anyway, as I was talking about defense up 10, how funny! Defense up 10, you dicks. Alright, nobody cares about you, bro. So the problem is, it cannot be fixed. The only way you can make tanks useful is if you create some decent content. Now, one good way of fixing this problem is by boosting the defense and stats and damage resistance boosts you get from items, because 20 defense on a plate? Give me a break. Come on, that's stupid. The problem with the damage formula is if you go above like 100, you can pretty much see how you can get to 1 damage every time you get hit. So that's a very bad problem. The problem is then that you have healers that are absolutely utterly useless. They do not do anything basically, because in PvP your units will get one-shotted. It's like Fire Emblem Heroes. If you've played Fire Emblem Heroes, you know that your units will get one-shotted. Either you one-hit KO the enemy, or the enemy one-hit KO you the next turn. That's Fire Emblem Heroes in a nutshell. And also, if we use Fire Emblem Heroes as a meter to gauge this game's health, basically this game is already going downhill in the second year, pretty much like Fire Emblem. Because in Fire Emblem 90% of the units are trash, because they do not have the skills you need to inherit, and even if you inherit, you basically need to pull for the new units. Anyway, that's a different topic. But healers in this game are useless. Never in the game, inside of this game, you need healers aside from some PvE content, where your tank magically survives the onslaught of enemies. So yes, it's cool if you can survive 1 turn and have the healer heal you, and then it becomes a battle of, is your healer good enough? Can he do stuff? But then healers, you know, the problem with healer is that if the tanks are not working, then the healers are not working either. The DPS, the game is too focused on DPS, so we already went into the guild. I did what I had to do. Cool story, bro. So if you look at my if I'm at my formation for guild battles, you will see I have 0 tanks. Can I before tomorrow? Thank you very much. So, well, you know what? Let's look at the formation setting, and you will understand. Come on, game, before tomorrow. No guild battle. So I have Starlight Helena, Yuna and Sakura. I'm going for magical damage. And I have 0 tanks. Yes, Yuna, you can say she's a healer. But really, I have no other magic units that do better than Yuna, so there she is. Maybe sometimes she will throw a heal. But the problem still stands. I have 0 tactical things in here. I just slap on magic damage and I go to town with it. There is no tanking, no supporting, no DPS. It's just full on DPS. Go on. You do you, bro. So, the way to fix it is to actually make it useful. So, you cannot fix it in PvP, because in PvP, basically it's completely broken. PvP is broken. If you take a look-see at the arena, and let's do that. Okay, I'm at the bottom of the barrel, so probably you will see some dumb team formations. But if you look at the team selection, man, so this team, okay, there's a reason these guys are in. There's a reason these guys are in the last position. Okay. But if you climb the ranks, you will see the same units over and over again. And yeah. So as for the second issue with the game, oh, it's the jobs. Some jobs, some base jobs, are just utterly useless. Now, Time Mage comes to mind. You can say, oh, it's gonna quicken. Yes, it's gonna use his turn to make someone else act again, but I can place someone else in her place to, you know, do something else without having to wait for the spell to go off. I mean, just 1 turn for a turn means I can substitute you with something else. Now, if we take the soldier job, actually, let's take Mont, which has both. Mont is a lord, okay? As a lord, if we take a look at his abilities, okay, he has stun throw. I don't consider stun throw aside other than on Mont, because on Mont it gets upgraded, so it does a lot of damage. Look, even Mont raises his own defense piercing rate and lowers by 1 the move and lowers defense piercing rate for 3 turns. Like, okay. But if you look at the moves from Mont, do you notice what's going on here? They're very close range moves, and that is fine. Even the Paladin, you got Taunting Blade, but Taunting Blade is 1, 2, 3, 4 range moves. You can only use it 2 times. It has AP 44, so most likely you will use it once per fight, and it's basically used to take aggro. So he's got one ability from the Paladin. The Paladin itself has Blade Bash. There's nothing else. Well, that's a sub job, but you get the point. As for the other job, which is the Knight, again with the Knight you get Speed Break, Magic. You see what's happening here? They're all close range. Now let's see. I don't have limited units that have been released as of late, because I like collecting old units and make them work. But if you take a look, see at other units that have been released recently, you will notice that even physical bruisers have big AoEs thrown down range, and that is gonna hurt the game a lot. So what happens is that these old jobs are basically useless. You don't do anything with them. I'm trying to find someone. Let's see Locke. Locke is old, so I don't know if it's actually gonna work with this. I don't know. What you got? Confuse Edge. This is a 2 square. Oh, Locke is old. It's been released like a year ago. I don't know. I cannot see this ability. I don't wanna spend 5 minutes looking, but you gotta trust me on this. So the problem is that most DPS units have humongous range, which makes melee combat kinda useless because you're dead on arrival. Like, God bless the fact that Lilith has Archer, Ranger. The fact that Lilith has Ranger means I can go with Sub Ranger and have her at least hit the enemy once. Because if she goes with Knight, she tries to move in, she can only use Trinity Break. It's her only move that actually goes past range 1. And what happens? There's also AP Crusher, but that's AP Devastator. The problem still persists. They're trying to make, and this move has been added as an EX job, so it was not in the base job. So it's only unique to Lilith. If you remove this one, which is a range, so what they're doing is they're taking melee classes and they make them range classes, which is dumb. The point of a melee unit is to go in melee and do damage, keep the enemy pinned down, block the enemy from passing through stuff. Okay, so ideally you want to have a tank, you want to have a bruiser. They block the enemy so you cannot move through them and get your back row. That's the point. That's the tanking 101. That's the party setup 101 in every game. In this game it's not possible. So these old units are actually useless. If you take a look, see at Mia, for example, she's a thief. Thief is a base job, very old. If you look at her abilities, she's got surprise attack. Look at that. She's a thief with 1 range. Mag is 1 range. These units are just, this is not damage. And Slowpoke is her EX ability that deals medium damage and lowers target unit. See what I was talking about previously. But this is an EX ability, so it doesn't count for the thief job. It's just Mia's ability, and they added in this with range because they realized they went range with everybody. So to make units enticing or usable, they had to give range to this unit. That's the problem. Classes are being just shafted, and because of that we have no more dynamics which can like encapsulate like jobs into roles. We have no more roles. Everybody just lobs stuff from range. So healers, why would I want Ayaka in my team? What does she bring to the table other than meager hit points? She doesn't do anything. She heals. Good for you. But who do you heal? You don't heal anyone. You're just there. You take up space. So that's the problem with classes, and the way to fix them is to look, listen. You've dig yourself in a hole and you can only dig deeper, because the way you power creep stuff, you cannot take that stuff away from paying customer without getting into the rut. Because the people who pay to get these limited units that are actually destroying everything, yeah, they're paying for that. So you're taking out their stuff and they go nuts. That's why people pay. They don't pay to collect things, they pay to catch the latest new meta. If you want to collect things, you don't need to pay, you just need to wait. You know? You will get the unit, you're gonna collect that, you will collect that. 40k visual, you can wait. You're gonna get a lot of visual. The game is pretty generous when it comes to visual. Look, I've been playing for 2 years inconsistently and I haven't paid a single dime. Look at how many units I got to 120. Look at that. All these units. 220. Now a lot of 99s and a lot of units that I did not fully awaken, even though I have the shards. Because of the research. Look at how many units I have. I didn't spend a single dime. I collected them. So the problem is you need to assign roles to jobs, okay? Even Final Fantasy XI, which was an MMORPG, uses the old Final Fantasy tactic system. Okay, so you have jobs and you have sub-jobs. You can have counters and whatnot. You have like job abilities and job traits. They had a system where you had to tank. So you had a paladin draws aggro using the sub-job warrior, which has provoke. Paladin stays there, takes the hit, turn the enemy away so AoEs do not hit the party. Then you have Dark Knights, you have Rangers, you have other things that do damage. You have a Black Mage that closes an elemental chain, and then you have a healer that heals the party, and possibly you have either a Red Mage or a Bard that buffs your party. That's Final Fantasy XI. This is similar, but you have no role separation, which means that basically you are just throwing stuff that deals damage. That's what you do. You throw stuff that deals damage. That's a very big issue, so you need to fix the classes first. Make them do what they're supposed to do. Knights are bruiser, they need to stay in the fight, and they need to debuff the enemy. Okay? That's what knights do, in a nutshell. So, no range abilities for knights. No range abilities for melees at all. Range abilities are only for range characters and mage. That's how you fix it. Second of all these defense, piercing, penetration coming everywhere needs to go. Okay, stop with that. Okay, stop. Just put it on weapon if you want, not on units. Because if you want to put it on units, don't make it a 40, make it like a 10, or best a 15. If you go 15 with defense penetration, then I have 15 plus 20 from the weapon. That's 35. Good. I go from 90 defense on Mont to like 55. Still understandable. You can go with that. But make those weapons available to units who are actually DPS units. You need to have this thing, you know. So you need to fix that thing. So when you do that, your tanks and your bruiser will be able to stand in and fight, and then it becomes a battle of. What is the new event? Give me the new event. Why don't you give me the new event? Trading quest? Nope, it's not this one, and I couldn't care less. Oh, it's this one. I have to go and do this one. Oh, EX quest. How cool! You're giving me this one. Okay. Well, about this one? No. I have to do this one, right? Good gods, have I done everything here? Yes. Okay, can you imagine how much I care for this thing? Oh, yeah, we are putting Luarta and Victoria in there. So my next point, my next problem is the PvE content. Okay, let's remove PvP from the equation because it's broken as fuck. Let's and as far as I understand, they want to focus on PvP. Can I go with my light team for a change? Let's go with a white team for a change. Nah, let's go with the water team. I like my water team. I have Ramada. Double Ramada is always the best. So I'm gonna skip this thing, by the way, so I won't spoil it to you. Yeah, nobody cares. Literally. Oh, we did stuff. We are half naked women. Okay, skip. So the next problem is PvE. If we remove PvP from the equation, PvE has two issues, really. The first one is, like I said, it's a big whole slugfest of DPSs. There is no separation of range, which means also that it takes you like 15 minutes to complete whatever content comes out weekly, and then you're done. You don't need to play the game anymore. You don't even need to log in if you want. If you have as many units as I do, I only log in for the guilds, really, and not for anything else, really. And I don't care enough. And the problem with PvE is also that there is not enough content. And when I say content, I don't need a spam of maps that are just easy to auto. I need content where my strategy is tested. This is a strategy game. Where is the strategy? If everything is a DPS, then there's no strategy. We need PvE with strategy. I like figuring out the resistances of enemies. How can I get around those resistances? Which unit to bring? Which makes me want to collect more units because I need those units. Okay? Yeah, skip this story. I'm sure it's gonna be heartbreaking. So, more PvE content that caters to strategy. This is a strategy game. Just keep. It's not an AFK arena game. Yeah, you go do you, bro. This is not an AFK arena. What the hell? Do you give me content which takes me 5 minutes to complete? It doesn't make any sense, right? A little fist, yes, whatever. Yes, I will restore my energy. There you go. Are you happy now, game? Give me a break. So, which leads to another problem. So, I want PvE to... The way to fix PvE is to actually make it available, not required, but available, to get fantastic rewards, like you are a Scythe stuff. You decide. But we need strategy. We need... Okay, we need a tank. We need a physical tank or a magical tank. We need a magical tank. Good, there are Spellblades. Ramada is a great magical tank. Little Lila could be a magical tank. Anything with a Spellblade on it is a magical tank. So, do I need that? What kind of DPS do I need? Do I need piercing DPS? Do I need range DPS? Do I need slashing DPS? Do I need magical DPS? Do I need physical DPS? Do I need a healer? Yes, of course. We need a healer to heal the tank. Right? Assuming the enemy doesn't kill your tank outright.
I can see it coming.
What else? Once I do it, is it fun to redo the content? If it's just gonna be a boring mess, then it's not fun. What you can do is randomize the reinforcements the enemy gets once you kill certain units, so that it keeps it fresh. That's a good way. Randomizing things is always good. In a game where you have repetition, randomizing things can wake you up. Oh, now you have this enemy. How am I gonna deal with this thing? Maybe you have Ochus or Malboros that will petrify your team. So you need to pay attention to that. Okay, so once you have this content, the tower climb was a nice idea, but it was implemented horribly. Horribly, like units having 80% resistance to everything but a single element. And there are like 100 floors that really reward you with nothing. If you think about it, it's nothing. Next problem with the PvE is that multi is utterly useless. Now, if you have a community that can engage with each other, you have a healthy game, because the community alone will keep your game afloat, right? If you have a community that is dedicated to your game, they will keep playing just because they have friends playing, right? The power of friendship that is always depicted in anime tropes, it's true. If you have a good community, like your guildmates are there, they play every day, they have a reason to play together, then they will stay and play the game instead of going to the next Genshin Impact with underage girls fighting. So you need to make multi actually something that people want to engage. Right now, multi is basically put your units there, auto, 15 minutes, done, okay, moving on. That's multi. People don't talk, people do not come up with plans, people don't do anything in a team. So they don't even, what's the point? There is no engagement with people. Like, I mean, it's sad. Even Langrisser Online has raids, and you engage with 2 other people, right? You know what's, I mean, each day there is a different raid, but, you know, so you kind of brings different units, but it is something. In here you have nothing. Guilds have nothing to do. There is nothing. In Langrisser, guilds, if you have a certain number of members, you have access to raids within your guild, and they reward you with currency, which you can use to buy things. So there is a reason to be in a guild, right? In this game, there is no reason, really. Guild battles, it's AI PvP. Really, it's AI PvP, and you don't interact with your team members. So basically, you're playing solo. Guild, there are nothing to do with your guild. There is nothing. There are no events. You have nothing to do with PvE content in multi, because it gets completed immediately, and it's a repetition. You have to repeat the content 3 times to get bonuses, then you're done. You don't even need to do it. So you have no reason to play online. Maybe if you had some form of multi-level dungeon or something where you have to come up with strategies, then it will make sense. Again, random, RNG, keep people on their toes. That's the solution. So you need to make this game engaging, otherwise people will leave. There are many times, we live in an era where everybody releases their hit piece. There are so many games released daily that you need to be on top of things if you want to be relevant. Now, I'm sure they made enough money, but I don't think this game is healthy enough. It doesn't lay its foundation on a healthy system. It cannot self-sustain. If the developers of this game go away and stop releasing new units, this game will crumble. That's why I always say that gacha games are a self-consuming product, meaning they need to eat themselves to last. You need to destroy units that are older by releasing new units that people will fork money for, whether it's for the boobs or for the power. But that's the problem you run when you make a gacha game, is this one. You're basically tying yourself to the units and the power creep. But if you have a system that allows you to play with all the units and keep having fun day after day, you don't need to release a unit, you don't need to concern yourself with units that much. Of course, the game will become stale if you don't release anything new, any new units to play with, but I'd say this game has a lot of units and it can sustain itself for some months if you introduce the right type of content. But you need to do that, otherwise you're gonna be releasing new units every week and eventually your game dies down, because people will be tired of spending money on your game. Something new comes around that catches their attention, and they have nothing to keep them playing this game. Nothing. So this game will eventually die. Like all gacha games will be on maintenance mode. Like I think they're pushing Fire Emblem Heroes. The problem with Fire Emblem Heroes, I don't know how much they make, but Fire Emblem Heroes is a boring game. Like it's really boring. If you start now playing Fire Emblem Heroes, you will be bored to death, because you'll be given a lot of 5-star units, and you will blast through PvE. Like you will complete it in like a month, and then what you do? PvP. PvP is basically you're competing with whales that have toxic combination of units. Where's the fun in that? I don't know how the game survives. It probably doesn't need much money, and there are people who fork money anyway, because they've invested so much they cannot stop investing. But this game, I don't know, it's... Look at Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact has a lot of success. It releases new characters, but the content is boring as fuck. But it has exploration. You go around, you get chests, you figure out, you find things hidden. You have to something to do other than your multi. Now multi is not engaging really. It's not there, but you don't play Genshin for the multi part. Alright, and then you can do events, but most of the things are not co-op. So tower defense, for instance, is a good example of multi. Every time you can do different things because there are different people that do different things. So it's a self-perpetuating multi. So tower defense in Genshin Impact is very fun. Okay, you can do it solo and do the same thing and be done with the event, or you can do it multi people. So that's the problem this game has. You need to give PvE content that actually requires you to strategize. I'm sorry, you went with this game, you need to follow through. And that's about it. I don't think there are any other problems with the game. I don't think the problems with the game are the generosity of the developers. I think the developers are very generous. Very generous. Believe me, if you start a new account today, you will get 5 level 99 units. 5. Okay, 5. And I'm not talking Sosha or Ramada. I'm talking they give you units. Alright? Sure, they're random, but they give you units. You're set. Okay? And you get a lot of tickets. Like, bro. These guys are very generous. They want you to keep playing, but they do not have the system set up to do so. Yes, you will enjoy the honeymoon phase, which is the early game, where you go through the campaign, you figure out strategies, but once you've built your team, really you go auto. Once you go through the early stages of the game, which is Generation 0 PvE, then you will start to see these problems. So, this is the problem with the game. Now, how much time? Jesus Christ, 40 minutes. Alright, so, to wrap it up, yeah, so jobs, basic jobs are, every job is now a range job. Tanks have no purpose, healers have no purpose, PvE is barebone basic, multi has no purpose, there is no interaction with the players. Those are the main issues. I don't even consider PvP a thing because it's stupid. The way it's set up, it's stupid. The AI cannot even decide whether you want to tank or heal, so whatever. So those are the biggest problems. If Gumi manages to address those problems, they will have a lasting experience and people will stick by the game. If they don't and they keep going the way they're going by power creeping units and throwing new units every week, I doubt this game will be successful enough in the long run. It will go away and nobody will remember this game. Anyway, I've been going on for so long that it's a crime, so I'm gonna end it here. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next one. Bye bye. And kudos to you if you managed to reach this part.